My name is Daniel Harper, and for most of my life I avoided thinking about what happened that winter. Not because I forgot it, but because remembering it made my chest feel tight, like the air itself didn't want to stay in my lungs. I was 28 years old at the time, living alone in a rented house on the edge of a small town in northern Minnesota. The town was the kind of place people passed through without noticing. One main road, a gas station, a diner that closed at 8 p.m., and endless trees stretching in every direction. Winter came early there. By December, the snow was already waist-deep in some places, and the sun disappeared before most people finished work. I had moved there for a job, night security at a lumber processing facility about 10 miles outside town. It paid well, mostly because no one wanted it. 12-hour night shifts, long drives through empty roads, and absolute isolation. I didn't mind it at first. I liked quiet. I liked routine. But that winter taught me the difference between quiet and being alone. The first night. It started on December 12th. I remember the date clearly because it was the first real blizzard of the season. The snow came down sideways, thick and relentless, swallowing the road ahead of me as I drove home just before sunrise. By the time I reached my house, my headlights barely cut through the white wall in front of me. My house sat alone, about half a mile from the nearest neighbor, surrounded by trees on 3 sides and an open field on the fourth. At night, it felt like the last building on Earth. I parked, shoveled just enough snow to reach the front door, and stepped inside. The house was cold, silent, empty. I kicked off my boots, turned on the heater, and collapsed onto the couch. My body ached from the long shift, and exhaustion hit me all at once. That's when I heard it. At first, I thought it was the wind, low, distant, almost rhythmic. But then it became clearer. Footsteps, slow, crunching, right outside my house. I froze. Footsteps in fresh snow had a distinct sound, and this was unmistakable. Someone was walking across my yard. I held my breath and listened. The footsteps stopped. Then, from somewhere near the front of the house, I heard a single knock. Not loud, not urgent, just deliberate. I didn't move. No one ever came to my house. There was no reason for anyone to be there, especially during a blizzard. Another knock followed. Same rhythm, same force. My heart pounded so hard I was sure whoever stood outside could hear it. After a long pause, the knocking stopped. I waited several minutes before finally standing up and peeking through the front window. The porch was empty. Snow covered everything in a smooth, untouched layer. No footprints. Nothing. I convinced myself it had been my imagination and went to bed. I woke up late that afternoon to a blinding white light pouring through my windows. For a few seconds, I forgot about the knocking, the storm, the fear. I just lay there, listening to the quiet hum of the heater. Then I sat up and remembered everything. I went into the kitchen to make coffee. As the machine gurgled to life, something outside the front window caught my attention. A dark line in the snow. I moved closer. Footprints. They started at the edge of the open field and led straight toward my house. My heart sank as I followed them with my eyes. They went up the porch steps and stopped right in front of my door. There were no return tracks, no disturbance in the snow beyond that point, just a single line of footprints that ended as if whoever made them had simply disappeared. The coffee finished brewing, but I didn't pour a cup. I stood there staring, my mind desperately searching for a logical explanation. Maybe the wind covered the tracks back. Maybe the snow drifted overnight. Maybe I stopped myself. I had grown up around snow. I knew how it behaved, and this wasn't natural. At work, that night at the lumber facility, I tried to act normal. The place was massive, endless stacks of logs, tall metal buildings, and floodlights that cast harsh shadows across the snow-covered ground. During the day, trucks came and went. At night, it was just me and one other guard, Mark. Mark had been there longer than anyone. Late 40s, quiet, always tired looking. During our usual round, I casually mentioned the footprints. He stopped walking. "What kind of footprints?" he asked. "Just someone walked up to my house last night," I said. "During the storm." He didn't laugh. He didn't joke. Instead, he looked at me for a long moment. "People don't walk around out there," he finally said. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Especially not during storms like that," he added. "If someone shows up at your place in weather like that, they're not lost." That was all he said. The rest of the shift passed in uncomfortable silence. The man in the trees. I saw him 3 nights later. I was driving home just before dawn, exhaustion heavy behind my eyes. My headlights swept across the road and caught something near the tree line. I slowed down. There was a man standing there. He wasn't moving, just standing half hidden between the trees, facing the road. I rolled past slowly, and then he turned his head. He looked straight at me. Even from inside my car, I could see his face clearly. Too pale. His eyes looked sunken, like he hadn't slept in weeks. And then he smiled. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't threatening either. It was familiar, like he knew me. A cold shock ran through my body, and I pressed the accelerator without thinking. In my rearview mirror, I saw him step forward, just once, out of the trees. I didn't look again. The knocking returns. The knocking came back after that. Always at night, always 3 knocks. Sometimes at the front door, sometimes at the back. Once it came from the side of the house, right beneath my bedroom window. I stopped checking. I stopped answering. I turned the TV up and pretended I didn't hear it. But no matter how loud the noise inside got, the knocking always cut through. 3 slow knocks, pause, 3 more, then silence, until the next night. I barely slept, and when I did, I dreamed of footsteps circling my bed. The scratching. The night it changed, I was lying awake, staring at the ceiling. I heard something outside. Not knocking, Scratching. Slow. Deliberate. Like fingernails dragging across wood. The sound moved along the side of the house. Window, wall, door. I held my breath, my body frozen. Then it stopped, and I heard a voice. Soft. Calm. Close. Daniel. My blood turned to ice. No one there should have known my name. I didn't answer. Daniel, the voice said again, almost patiently. I squeezed my eyes shut. Come outside, it whispered. You forgot something. I don't know how long I lay there before the sound finally stopped, but when morning came I found long scratch marks in the paint beneath my bedroom window. Too evenly spaced to be an animal, too deep to be accidental. The town. I started asking questions after that, at the diner, at the gas station, anywhere someone might talk. Most people brushed me off, until an older woman behind the counter at the diner went quiet when I described the man. Did he smile? She asked. Yes, I said. She nodded slowly.